Hey guys, how is everyone? This is Sir Jedi Sentinel. Welcome to another Sentinel vlog, and it's time again to do a Big Finish unboxing. Now, yes, I only have one box. Granted, it's a big box, but yeah, here's the thing. I filmed my last unboxing video, and it didn't work out, sadly. I had technical issues, the video didn't come out good, so I had to scrap it. At least with the first packages I got. Then the other packages got here, and boy, my mom was determined. She didn't understand the concept of unboxings. So, with this unboxing, I'm going to still talk about the other Big Finish products I got, because this is a Big Finish video, again. And I'm going to do it more as I guess a haul would be the proper term. I don't know. But with that out of the way, let's just get right to it. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the Vortex magazine, because I've been collecting these purchases, saving them up over 3 months, so May, June, July. So yeah, I've been getting different issues of Vortex with every release. The first ones I got, the earliest ones, advertised Ravenous, the newest 8th Doctor series, and Torchwood Believe. Now, I haven't gotten into Torchwood at all. I'm sure I will as I get more into Doctor Who. Well, more than I already am anyway, but it's just, yeah, right now, it just doesn't capture me. It doesn't appeal to me. Not saying it's bad, it's just, if it was targeting me, it missed, you know? Anyway, moving on, so that hopefully this video doesn't drag on too long. The next issue I got, which I believe was June's, featured Big Finish's latest spin-off at the time, because now we have Lady Christina, and still no Paternoster gang! Anyway, this Vortex advertised Jenny, the Doctor's daughter, from the Doctor's daughter, played by Georgia Moffat, David Tennant's wife, and Peter Davison's daughter. And this issue also advertised Torchwood 1 machines. The final and most recent issue of Vortex that I got advertised Callan, which I know nothing about, and the Time War... Let me start that again. The 8th Doctor, the Time War Volume 2. I've been hearing good things about Volume 2, but, you know, to get to Volume 2, I have to listen to Volume 1, and it's just... I've heard Volume 1 is kind of meh, but also the 8th Doctor Time War series doesn't interest me. I like the 8th Doctor, don't get me wrong, but it's just... When it comes to the Time War, I have the War Doctor series, and it just seems like a vastly superior series. Alright, with that out of the way, I'm going to review what I already got and what was already opened from that last video, and the more recent stuff that, again, I didn't get a chance to open on screen. And then we're going to build up to the finale, which is the unboxing. I have all the CDs right here, sorted by range, so let's jump into it. The first one here comes from the Big Finish Classics range. Now, this is a range I wanted to get into for quite a bit of time. As the name says, Big Finish Classics takes classic works of literature and adapts them into audio dramas. Like, there's Treasure Island, starring Tom Baker as Long John Silver. There's The Picture of Dorian Gray. There's Frankenstein, starring Arthur Darvill and Nicholas Briggs. There's Dracula, starring Mark Gatiss. So on and so forth. Actually, last year, I think it was, I got King Lear, starring David Warner and Louise Jameson. And I really like that. And it really convinced me to try and check out more of this range. Like, I really want to check out their adaptation of Gaston Leroux's novel, The Phantom of the Opera. But, I think it was in June now? I don't recall. Big Finish had a warehouse clearance sale, and a couple of their classics were moved to clearance, and I decided to get one of them. What I got was L. Frank Baum's The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Now, this one took some getting used to because, through popular culture and everything, the movie is so ingrained in everyone's mind. And one of the things I've learned a while ago is that the book is so different from the movie. Like, honestly, as great as the movie is, and it is a good movie, The Wizard of Oz is probably the least true book-to-film adaptation of... Yeah, it's the least accurate in capturing of its source material. I really liked this story, and like King Lear, this convinced me to really check out more of the classics. From here on out, it's Doctor Who, and starting up, we have Curse of the Daleks. The Curse of the Daleks is from the Stage Plays range, and it is the final story of the Stage Plays range, which means that I now have the entire series. The Curse of the Daleks was the first of the Doctor Who plays adapted for the stage. It was created and run in the 60s, and then, ironically, it was the last stage play to be adapted for audio. Now, objectively, Curse of the Daleks is the best of the stage plays, but it's my least favorite. I think Seven Keys to Doomsday is my favorite. And it's just, by choosing to stay true to the script of the stage play, which I completely understand, that's why the stage plays exist. They wanted to preserve them. It just shows how dated this particular play is. Like, there's very 60s views on women. There's very inaccurate science, and in one part they mentioned the Daleks having to move on metal tracks because of their suits were powered by static electricity, and that only showed up in one story, their debut story with the first Doctor, the Daleks, and the second story after that, the Dalek Invasion of Earth, went out of its way to retcon that. So, it's good. It's probably not one I'm going to rush to again anytime soon. I'm glad I have it, though, because in that clearance sale where I bought The Wizard of Oz, the stage plays were moved to clearance and they're being discontinued, so I have the complete range. Next up, the next range is the Companion Chronicles. Now, I may be wrong on this, but the Companion Chronicles started as a way to continue the adventures of the first three Doctors, the first, second, and third Doctors, because William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton, and Jon Pertwee are no longer with us. So, I believe the idea when they first started was to have surviving actors who played companions on the show, like Katie Manning, Fraser Hines, Carol Ann Ford, and so on, tell their adventures as they happened from their point of view. And over time, it's just expanded beyond that. I only have 2 Companion Chronicles so far. I don't know if I'll be getting more anytime soon, but yeah. Oh, I almost forgot. Usually the Companion Chronicles are performed with one person, the actor whoever was the companion, and one guest star. I only have 2 of those, so yeah. The first one I have is the first one I ever listened to, A Town Called Fortune. In case you're new to my videos, Evelyn Smythe is my favorite companion. Not in Big Finish, just period. She's my favorite companion in all of Doctor Who. And so, yeah, I thought, oh, I'll check this out. And A Town Called Fortune turned out to be a really fun, pure historical story, if not a little on the short side. But I liked it, and I may want to listen to this again sometime. The other Companion Chronicle I got was Perry and the Piscon Paradox. This one was performed by Nicola Bryant, who played Perry, and was told in two parts. The first part featured Perry with the Fifth Doctor, and the second part featured another version of Perry with the Sixth Doctor. And it is an absolutely amazing story. I mean, just Nicola Bryant is a tour de force, and this story just really shows off how well her acting is. Either this or The Reaping may be Perry's best story. Oh wow, I just lost my train of thought there. But yeah, this story I would definitely recommend. Why can't I think of what I was going to say? Oh well. Next up is the bonus releases. Yeah, there's usually a bunch of different ways that stories released are bonus releases, so I'm not going to even try to explain what that range is. And first up here we have Her Final Flight. A decent story. But not one I'm going to rush back into to listen again anytime soon. It was good, though. There's a cameo by a villain, and this villain is kind of the catalyst for the things that happen in Her Final Flight. It's never named, but it's like, all I'm going to say is that I can't believe I didn't recognize that voice sooner. Next up is Trial of the Valeyard. Now, this is another bonus release. It features Colin Baker as the Sixth Doctor, Michael Jaston as the Valeyard, and Linda Bellingham as the Inquisitor. I believe her name was Durkle? I don't remember her name. She's just the Inquisitor. So basically this reunites, there's the word, the three main players from Trial of a Time Lord. I was really interested in this one because the Valeyard is my favorite Doctor Who villain, and the Inquisitor is one of my favorite Time Lord characters. I was kind of sad to learn that this is Linda Bellingham's final performance because she passed away. But, man, she is spectacular in this. I love the dynamic between the Doctor, the Valeyard, and the Inquisitor. I can't say anything more about it because I'm currently in the middle of listening to it. And that's pretty much, from here on out, I haven't listened to any of these stories, so, except one, and I'll get to that. But, yeah, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about them. So, finishing up, we have the main range. Or not finishing up, there's one more thing after the main range, but more on that in a second. Oh, all this talking. So first up, these next two releases I got in June. I think it was actually May now, I'm not sure. Anyway, Big Finish had a sale on newer Sixth Doctor audios for Colin Baker's birthday, and I decided to get a couple of them. So first is Last of the Cybermen, and this is part of a quadrilogy of stories in which the Sixth Doctor travels with the Second Doctor's companions, Jamie and Zoe. I'm kind of holding off on listening to this one until I get the rest of that story arc, because I think it would work better if I heard it from the beginning. Ooh, I almost forgot. One of the things I like about doing this now rather than unboxing is that I can show you that I flipped the covers around and show you them with their alternate cover, because yeah, Big Finish has two covers in their booklets. One is their standard Doctor Who cover, the other is the cover used in the show from that particular Doctor's era. I love the alternate covers, and Big Finish has redesigned their cover style again because they're now using the 13th Doctor's logo design, but they're still doing the alternate covers, and which makes me happy because I love that. The last one I got from the Colin Baker sale was Planet of the Ronnie. I don't know much more about this one other than it features Miranda Raisin as Raisin. I'll have to look it up, as Constance Clark, one of his newer companions. And I'll talk about the Ronnie when I get to one of the other releases I have. After that, we have The Wrong Doctors. Now, let's go back to the series, just so you know where this is going. In Season 22, Trial of a Time Lord... Oh, I forgot to talk about that in Perry and the Piscon Paradox. I'll come back to that. In Season 22, Trial of a Time Lord, the third story, Terror of the Vervoids, introduced what would be the Sixth Doctor's final companion, Melanie Jane Bush, better known as Mel. However, in her meeting, the Doctor has already, in the audience's meeting of her, the Doctor has already met her and has been traveling with her for some time. In fact, that's brought up in Trial of a Time Lord. The Valeyard asks, "Who is this woman? Why haven't we met her?" The Doctor says, "She's a companion from my future." So, now going back to this, The Wrong Doctors is chronologically Mel's debut story. And I can't say more about that. I haven't listened to it yet, but I've heard that it's really, really good, so I'm kind of excited. Next, we have the Perry Trilogy. The Perry Trilogy was a series of 3 stories, trilogy, and it was meant to retcon Perry's departure in Trial of a Time Lord. Let me dig it up again, because I have everything stacked on top of each other, along with Perry and the Piscon Paradox. Basically, spoilers for Trial of a Time Lord if you haven't seen it, during his adventure with Perry, which takes place in the present, don't think too hard on the timeline here, because otherwise this is going to get confusing. The Doctor was pulled out of his adventure to go to Gallifrey and have this trial. During which he... the Time Lords, there we go, thought that what he was doing during the events of Mind Warp, Perry's final story, was too damaging. So they manipulated events that Yrkarnus, a character in Mind Warp, played by Brian Blessed, had killed Perry. Then, at the very end of Trial of a Time Lord, we find out that this isn't true. Yrkarnus was able to save Perry, and Perry lived married to Brian Blessed as his queen. I don't know how well this was received in the 80s, but by today's standards, everyone hates this ending. Unless you're Stephen Moffat. Because he did this with all of his companions. The whole, "I'm dead! Not really, but you'll never see me again!" He did it with Amy and Rory, he did it with Clara, he did it with Bill. Yeah. But no, so basically, the Perry Trilogy and... oh, what did I just do with it? Perry and the Piscon Paradox went out of their way to explain and retcon this decision. So, other than that, I don't know that much about the Perry Trilogy, except for a little bit more trivia I know. So the first story is The Widow's Assassin, which, from the plot summary, kind of sounds like a Doctor Who take on Sleeping Beauty. I don't know what I'm going to get, though. And then Masters of Earth, which, from everyone who has talked about the Perry Trilogy, they say Masters of Earth is the best story. I don't know what else to say about that, other than it takes place before the first Doctor story, the Dalek Invasion of Earth. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. And then the final story is The Ronnie Elite. The Ronnie Elite is the Big Finish debut story of the Ronnie. And time for more backstory. The Ronnie was a renegade time lady. She was like the doctor, the master, the monk, and so on. However, she was basically a mad scientist. She was completely immoral. She didn't care about what happened to people. She only cared about her experiments. She debuted in a Sixth Doctor story, The Mark of the Rani, and she only showed up in one more televised story, the Seventh Doctor's debut story, Time in the Rani, where she was basically rewritten to be the Master. Anyway, well, she was also in Dimensions in Time, but we don't talk about Dimensions in Time. Anyway, at the time the Perry trilogy was being produced, the Rani in the series was played by Kate O'Mara. At the time the Perry trilogy was being produced, Big Finish actually got into contact with Kate O'Mara, and they said, hey, we have this story with the Rani planned, would you like to come back? And she said yes. As they were developing the story, they received the news that Kate O'Mara had died. And then her agent, I think it was her agent, got into contact with Big Finish and said, hey, even though she's not here, Kate would want you to continue to use the Rani. So, being a time lady, she regenerated, and in the Rani Elite and Planet of the Rani, she is now played by Siobhan Redmond. I hope I said that right. And, as I said, debut story of the Rani. I really like the Rani, so I'm interested to see what this and Planet of the Rani bring about. The final main range stories that I have are the Master Trilogy. Basically, a trilogy that takes place across 3 Doctors, the 5th, 6th, and 7th Doctors, and has him interacting with the Master. I don't know if it's an antagonistic interaction or if it's more the fact that they're old friends. I don't know the extent that they're going to interact, but the first story in the Master Trilogy is And You Will Obey Me, which features the 5th Doctor and the Jeffrey Beavers Master. Jeffrey Beavers is one of my favorite. The title, I am just going all over the place with my thoughts. The title is a play on the Master's signature catchphrase. I am the Master, and you will obey me. Because the Master was a hypnotist, so he ensnared people in his grip. Jeffrey Beavers is one of my favorite Masters. Not my absolute favorite, that would be Peter Pratt from The Deadly Assassin, but I do really like him. Next is the 6th Doctor story, Vampire of the Mind, which features the Alex McQueen Master. Now, Alex McQueen is a new, and I say new with air quotes because he's been around for some time now, is a new Master who is exclusive to Big Finish. For right now, anyway. He made his debut in the 8th Doctor series Dark Eyes, and he has... I don't think he's actually outside of this trilogy, I don't think he's shown up since Dark Eyes. Anyway, I'm personally excited for this because I haven't heard any story featuring the McQueen Master yet. Now that I think about it, it's kind of disappointing he didn't show up in New Who because he and Peter Capaldi were both in the thick of it. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. The final story in the Master Trilogy is the 7th Doctor story, The Two Masters, which, multi-master story, that's new. I'm really looking forward to it, seeing how the Master interacts with himself, because if it's anything like the Doctor Falls, it's not going to work out, because the Master is still the Master, and he is going to double-cross and backstab anyone to come out on top, even if it's himself, like in the Doctor Falls. Another water break, excuse me. Now, the final story, before we get to the unboxing, is Destiny of the Doctor. Destiny of the Doctor was another celebration, there we go, done for Doctor Who's 50th anniversary. This was a collaboration with Audio Go, a company that produced audiobook readings that sadly isn't around anymore. It's an 11-part series, one story for each Doctor at the time, because Peter Capaldi had not been the 12th Doctor yet. He was announced during the 50th anniversary, but he hadn't started yet. Basically, the overall plot of Destiny of the Doctors is that the 11th Doctor has gotten himself in a fix. And he needs to go back in time and tell each of his former selves that, yeah, something from the adventure you're on right now, I need to help me get out of that pickle, this pickle I'm in. So, basically all these stories add up to the 11th Doctor story. I was kind of interested because each of these audiobooks was performed by a former companion, by an actor who played a companion. Carol Ann Ford, Fraser Hines, Richard Franklin, Lalla Ward, Janet Fielding. I keep wanting to say Jeanette for some reason. Nicola Bryant, Sophie Aldred, India Fisher. The Ninth Doctor one was actually unique in that that story was read by Nicholas Briggs. Catherine Tate, and Destiny of the Doctor was the Big Finish debut of Jenna Coleman. Overall, the overarching plot is really good. Because this was read by a former companion and a guest star, I was expecting this to be sort of a companion chronicle thing, but it's an audiobook reading, and that took some getting used to because I've always found audiobooks to be kind of dry, but I really liked it. Smoke and Mirrors, the Fifth Doctor story, is probably my favorite in the set. Now, with that out of the way, that was my foot. We can finally get to unboxing this guy. And the box is a little bit mangled, so I'm kind of worried, but let's open it up and find out what's inside. Maybe. These big boxes are always kind of a pain to open. And they're kind of mangled. Well, not mangled, but it is a little ripped. Yeah, it doesn't look that bad. Another Vortex, Callan and the Time War Volume 2. And what I have here is the Diary of River Song. In my opinion, River Song is one of the best things to come out of New Who. Excuse me. Not the best thing, but one of. Including the 12th Doctor's Console, the 12th Doctor, the Paternoster Gang, Donna, Bill, the Weeping Angels. I'm getting ahead of myself. So the Diary of River Song is actually a spin-off in which River goes on her own adventures, and so far across each of her adventures, she's met an earlier incarnation of the Doctor. Which I like this idea, you know, because she is the Doctor's wife. The Diary of River Song is potentially my favorite spin-off, because I'm debating whether or not Doctor Who Unbound is actually a spin-off, you know, because it's called Doctor Who and it still features the Doctor. Also, spin-offs are usually still canon to their parent series, and Doctor Who Unbound isn't canon. So, yeah, I'm digressing. So I'm just going to say, yeah, the Diary of River Song is my favorite spin-off. And as I said, in each series, River has met an earlier incarnation of the Doctor that she technically isn't supposed to meet. In Series 1, it was the 8th Doctor. In Series 2, it is the 6th and 7th Doctors. And in Series 3, which I just finished, it is the 5th Doctor. This September, Series 4 is coming out, in which she is going to meet the 4th Doctor, which I'm really hyped for. That trailer was That trailer was good, and then you get to the last line, and that last line of that trailer got me so hyped. And then next year, Series 5 is coming out, and it's going to be a bit of a deviation, because River, instead of meeting an earlier Doctor, in Series 5, River is going to be facing 4 incarnations of the Master. She's going to be facing Jeffrey Beavers, Derek Jacobi, and making their Big Finish debuts, Michelle Gomez and Eric Roberts. Which, that just has me super hyped because Big Finish has taken some of the worst aspects of Doctor Who and spun that straw into gold. So that's got me super interested in seeing what they're going to do with probably the least liked incarnation of the Master, Eric Roberts. Also, Michelle Gomez, Missy, who I love. She's probably the best Master of New Who, because Derek Jacobi only had about a minute of screen time as the Master, not as Yana, so I consider him an audio master. But, yeah, I'm going to go brief on this. Series 1 was okay. You know, it was a new series, so it's got those new series pitfalls. Series 2 was amazing. It's probably my favorite release in this range so far. And there is definitely no bias there because the 6th Doctor is my favorite Doctor. But in all seriousness, I loved Series 2. The stories were phenomenal. Series 3, which I just finished, was also really good. It had the 5th Doctor, who was okay in this. I thought he was a little lackluster. And it had Frances Barber return as Madame Kavarian, which I liked because the wedding of River Song took place in an alternate universe where she died, and then everything was fixed, and they said nothing in that universe happened, but everyone remembers it. So I think Series 3 gives a nice finale to Madame Kavarian, because she hasn't shown up since the 11th Doctor. Alright, so this has been my Big Finish haul / unboxing. What did you think? Go ahead and drop a comment and let's start a conversation. This is like, comment, subscribe, and then click the bell. I gotta get used to that mirror. And then click the bell so that you get notifications when I upload. This is Sir Jedi Sentinel, and I'll see you guys next time.